All right, here it is. Not tons of people here yet. Oh, we have a few. We have a few. You can see me looking over in this direction. That's me checking to make sure that all of the technical stream stuff is working. But welcome, all three of you. Could be two, could be three. Uh, this is kind of a pre-CPW digital event of some sort. I am led to believe and understand. Um, Oh, excellent. The chat works. I love that the chat works. Um, so basically, the way I understand this is um, CPW is coming and everybody is super anxious. And so they have kind of like little teaser events leading up to CPW. And I am one of those teaser events. I am a former admissions blogger, still in touch with the admissions department. Chris Peterson officiated my wedding. Um, and I've been doing cross stitching for CPW since 2020. 2020, when CPW was all online. I hosted like 3 or 4 of these a week for the month of April. And now that CPW is in real life again, I just do these kind of little pre-show things leading up to it. And then on campus, I will drive from Indiana to Massachusetts. And I have this like super cool, like mobile cross stitch streaming cart thing. And I basically just do this marathon cross stitching session at CPW. So for as much as the admits aren't sleeping, or as much as you guys aren't sleeping, I am also not sleeping. Except you guys are running around eating ice cream and going crazy on rooftops and things, and I am sitting and cross stitching for like 96 hours straight. So what this is normally, I'm still kind of trying to develop what these pre-shows are. Last year, I just cross-stitched something totally different from what I worked on campus, and the I think this year what I want to do is I want to develop the pattern of what I'm going to do on campus. So what you can see here on the screen a little bit is what I cross-stitched last year. And I guess at some point I'll define what cross-stitching is, but for now we're just going to kind of roll with it. So this is what I did last year. It's about 2,600 stitches. That ended up being about excellent. I think I want to reduce the stitch count a little bit to around 2,500 for this year. And I want to keep these kind of same overall approximate dimensions. So this is kind of a great starting point. It worked out really well last year. And so I've been kind of toying around with a couple of ideas. I guess also I should interrupt myself and say, if anybody at any point wants me to tell specific stories about MIT, has questions about MIT or anything like that, like that's why I'm here, that's why I exist. The cross-stitching is just an excuse for me to share something on my screen instead of just having like this awkward Zoom call with whoever tunes in. So you don't have to care about cross-stitching at all during this. If you want stories and opinions about MIT from someone who graduated over 10 years ago, I'm your guy. So if you're going to ask me about specific nuances to the dining plan and about dorms that literally didn't exist while I was at MIT, I'm probably not your guy, and you should wait till you're on campus. So think of this more, my advice and my opinions and stories as more of like a holistic overall MIT experience kind of thing, and less like specific details, because if you start hitting me with financial aid questions, you are going to get incorrect answers from me. But yeah, so like I said, cross-stitching here is just an excuse. Anything you want to talk about, anything you want to do, just throw it in the chat, and we can talk about it. So, okay, and now I should probably tell you what cross-stitching is. So cross-stitching is, it's basically like embroidery, but for people who are less artistic. So embroidery is just needle, thread, and fabric, and you just make beautiful art on the fabric. Cross-stitching is much more pixel art. So you'll see these patterns, they're broken down into squares, like this. And the fabric that you stitch on is perforated. So you are literally just putting little crosses, little X's in the perforated fabric to match the pattern. So it lends itself really well to ripping off things like this, you know? So lots of like Stardew Valley cross stitches out there, lots of NES and things like that. So cross stitching used to be kind of the domain of the old woman and the like cottage and Splash Mountain at Disney World kind of thing. Lots of alphabets and flowers and things, but now there's like this whole new wave of modern cross stitching. So like you'll have subversive cross stitching, which is like tons of profanity and things like that. And I don't tend to do a lot of those just because I don't have anywhere to display them. But I tend to make my own patterns, and that's what we're going to do here, so that when I get on campus, I have something to do. So I've been kind of toying around with an idea. Totally open to input and things like that. And again, throw any questions my way, and can talk about stuff while I do this. But I want to kind of do like, I think I want to do like a 3-panel thing. So this is a starting off point. Maybe I'll bust out some paint chops here, but so I kind of want to do a 3-panel thing where it's going to be kind of like the before, during, and after of MIT. So this isn't my tablet. This were my tablet, this would be way more artistic. So at the beginning of your tenure at MIT, or the beginning of like before you get to MIT, one of the big milestones or the big thing that happens is you get your tube in the mail. So I kind of want this area here before everything gets started to be like tube admissions here. And then over here, I think I want this to be brass rat, which I can go over if you don't know what that is or you need some help understanding what's going on there. And then over here, I want this to be graduation, diploma, or like mortarboard, which is, you know, like 5 years off for you, so you're not worried about this yet, but trust me, it's coming. And so these 3 panels, they won't necessarily have squares around them or anything, but so for the tube, that's why this Mario pipe is up here, and that's why Tim the Beaver is kind of creeping over here. I'm thinking of doing some kind of like silver Mario pipe thing like that, and then having Tim the Beaver kind of like popping out of it like such. He'll be like all smiley. Oh yes. That's perfect. That looks exactly like Tim the Beaver. So you have like your tube, and then you have the beaver popping out of it, and then here the brass rat. So brass rat is like the MIT class ring. You get it after your sophomore year. I always joke that it's a way to incentivize you to keep going, right? You get this super big gold ring that's super cool that only MIT students ever get. It's like a really distinctive class ring, and they give it to you halfway through to convince you not to drop out. So I'm thinking here in the middle, you have like the big old like square of the brass rat, and it kind of like, I don't know, loops around like a ring shape. Oh yeah, another beautiful piece of art. And on the brass rat, there's always a beaver. Tim the Beaver is on there, but it's much more of like an accurate, like actual beaver, not like cartoon Tim. But I was thinking like some kind of Tim the Beaver here. It could be a wide Tim, something like that. I don't remember what wide Tim's mouth looks like. It could be like that. Okay. Oh, these are going to be so good. And then over here, I'm kind of stuck. I don't really know like whether it should be, I don't know whether it should be like a diploma, because like the diploma looks like this, and it has like a bunch of writing and junk on it. You know, congratulations, here's your degree, here's your name, signature over here, signature over here. And then I think in red it's like MIT. And there's no real place on here to put Tim. So I'm thinking might be better to do like Something like this. Yeah. So yeah. So like Tim with, oh, now we're gonna really see how my drawing is. Like, oh yeah, look at that. There's a tassel. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Something like that. There, see? Now it looks better. Okay, so this is kind of where my brain's going. So the trick is to just like take these three ideas and then make them actually look good, which we'll be doing over the course of the next 4 of these sessions, like 2 hours per session. So like presumably within 8 hours, I can probably make something that looks good, but within the constraints of the overall dimensions of the cross stitch and then like the 25 or the 2000 plus or minus stitch count that we're going for. So first things first, we have a constraint for size, which is this thing, and that's 103 by 89. So we're just going to call it 100 by 100. So let's start by getting there. Chart size 100 by 100. There we go. Okay. So right away, I am seeing that scale is going to be a thing for me. So this Tim the Beaver, and how many stitches is this? All right, this is 12. All right, so yeah, so this is 1200 stitches to begin with, and it takes up like almost half my width. So this is not going to work. The problem is this is like my tried and true Tim the Beaver head, and I've never really like made an attempt to scale that. So we're going to have to do like some actual art. Let's see if we can't get him smaller. I wonder if there's like a, can I just, no, I can drag him around, but I can't scale him. I wonder if, so this program, what it lets you do sometimes, let's see. Well, let's not overthink it. First, let's divvy this up into thirds. So 100 divided by 3 is 33, right? For all you super smart MIT admits. There we go. All right, so that's roughly what we want to stay in. And we can get rid of this little chunk there, and probably don't need much of your shirt, although it's a very nice shirt. The finished cross stitch last year I gave to MIT. They've had it for a year, and we'll see if they actually did anything with it or if it's still like sitting in a desk drawer. I don't know. But I have a photo of it somewhere that I took. It looked a lot like the pattern. Hopefully something happened to it, but honestly, that like with the final pieces, you know, and I don't particularly, I have like a whole bucket of finished cross stitch pieces here that I just have no idea what to do with. So I'm not particularly concerned with what happens to the final piece, but yes, I give it to MIT. I do not keep it. Okay. So one of the things I can do in this program here is I can take a JPEG or a PNG or something, and I can import it and tell it at what size and scale I want it to generate a pattern. So what I can do is I can just take Tim's head here. That doesn't look right, does it? That looks better. Does that look too much? Yeah, okay. So I can take Tim's head here and I can just snip it like this. I should just have like AI art generator do all this for me, but I want to at least pretend that I am doing this myself. All right, so I have Tim's head here. Let's get this saved. And I want to, let's get a new one of these going. Let's see, I want to import Tim's head. And I'm constrained like 33 by 33, but I don't necessarily want to take up all of that with Tim's head. So let's do like 28 wide. And originally Tim had 1, 2, 3, 4 colors. And we can always clean it up a little bit. 26 is a bit much. Let's try like 8. And let's see what it does. Hey, not bad. All right. So then let's clean up some of this here before we start messing around with it. That looks like Tim, right? You zoom out. Turn that off. Yeah, why not? We'll have to clean up all the dithering and the JPEGification here, but should work great. So let's copy this. And let's drop it in here. That's gorgeous. Here you are, Tim. We'll do them in the middle pane now because I don't want to deal with erasing all this, but you know, it's not much smaller. Do we want to make it even smaller? How many pixels is that? Doesn't really give me a count unless it's, how many pixels here? 672. I want 1,000, or I want 2,000, so that works. That's like a third of my pixel count for one of my things. So yeah, you guys are getting an inside look into how the magic happens. I don't know if the number of people on the stream is the same as when it started, so I'll just go through a little bit of my spiel again now that it's been about 15 minutes. But I am a former admissions blogger. You can look back at many of my blog entries. I graduated from MIT in 2011 and wrote for the blogs for about 3 years. That was back when blogs were like what people did on the internet. And now blogs are just kind of a thing that's still around. And I'm hopelessly out of touch with the new wave of things. So, but yeah, so I've been volunteering and helping with admissions since I graduated, help read maker portfolios, things like that. And during COVID, back in 2020, I participated in a live stream CPW because CPW was all online. So I did some cross stitching just to throw another event on there, kind of like a Meet the Bloggers, except it's just me and I'm not a blogger anymore. And now it's kind of evolved into actually showing up on campus and live streaming from campus, which is weird, but MIT still lets me come and I like spending time on campus. So I drive the 12 hours and hang out for a few days, say hi to people, cross stitch, and then I head home. And when I'm done, the cross stitch piece that I do goes to the admissions office. So it's kind of like those sidewalk chalk artists at fairs and things where you can kind of check in on them throughout the course of the thing and see how it's going and check in on the cross stitching on the sidewalk art. And that's what I'm doing. So the 4 events leading up to it, I'm kind of developing a pattern. I'll probably work on it outside of these sessions as well. I think that, so this here, I want to be like the admissions tube. So I used green just to kind of get it started, but I think it needs to be much more like this. I wonder, is it going to be too obvious? Well, nah, I think I like the idea of it being a Mario pipe because it's like still obviously going to be like the tube, but it's obviously a Mario pipe too. Yeah, so I developed the pattern here, and then I don't usually print it out. I like to cross stitch from the computer because it's much easier to zoom in and reference things and check my dimensions and things by cross-stitching straight off the pattern on the computer. So actually I can hold it for you guys, just hold on for half a second. Look, I'm invisible. And I'm not invisible. So like, here's a bunch of my stuff. So this guy here is an alphabet that I cross-stitched from my son's nursery. And you can see his name, Cooper, on that. And This is super old, and I do not judge you at all if you don't know. Maybe you do. Show of hands. Is this too old, internet? I don't know. Trogdor was like the peak of cool when I was in high school. Uh, Here's a half finished Tim. I finished his legs and then kind of gave up. Here's a half finished Swole Tim. It's probably best that it remains half finished. This does not need. We don't need to finish that one. Let's see what else we got here. I have an owl. And I have Wendy. And I have a finished Tim. I think that's from last year. And then I have this great poop that one day I'm going to frame and hang in the bathroom at work. So, yeah, I mean, as you can see, like, I cross-stitch all sorts of stuff, and it just sits in a bucket at my house. And for how long these things take, they should not just be sitting in a bucket in my house like this. Like, a cross-stitch of this size takes, I don't know, like, north of 20 hours, I would say, if not more. Like, they're incredibly labor intensive. But anyway, that's why I can only get 2,500 stitches done while stitching for like 72 hours straight at CPW. Someone can do that math and figure out what the stitch rate is. But I started cross-stitching when I graduated from MIT. It was, you graduate and you end up out in the real world, and you try to figure out like what to do with all your free time now, because at MIT well, at least this was a problem I had. This may not be a problem other people have, but going a million miles an hour at MIT, working all hours of the day, and then in real life, shocker, like businesses don't have the same ridiculous hours that MIT does. You actually get to go home at the end of the day and not work. So I needed a hobby, and I just kind of tried a ton of stuff. I did like trampoline, dodgeball, skating, cross-stitching, machining, just all sorts of stuff. And ended up the two hobbies that stuck were cross-stitching and skydiving. So basically every day when I would get home from work, I would cross-stitch and watch TV. And then on the weekends, I would head to the drop zone and I would skydive all weekend. And that's when I started cross-stitching. And so that's been like over 10 years now. And cross-stitching, I would say, is one of the few things where like I will set my humility aside and just openly acknowledge that I'm pretty good at it. Very proud of. So the joke and everything is always like the front of the cross-stitch looks really nice, but on the back of it, it's usually just like a hot mess. And I'm always very proud of like the back of my cross-stitch often looks better than the front of the cross-stitch, because I take just as much care laying out the reverse as I do the front. So my pattern making, I am not an artist by any stretch of the imagination. I just am not. So it leaves something to be desired. I will find patterns that other people do and just remind myself just how terrible I am at this. But, what are you going to do? I tend to be much more blocky and pixely and less like artistic with gradients and, stuff like this guy here. Like someone who's really good at like pattern design, he would have like all sorts of nuances and colors and things. And I was like, no, dark brown, light brown, black and white. That's what he gets. That's all he needs. That's what it's going to be. And other people are like, I could do better than that. So, okay. Yeah, the awesome origin story of I live in a city 2,000 miles away from my family and don't have anything to do in my free time, so I'm going to watch Netflix and do needlepoint. That's my awesome origin story. And it is probably an awesome origin story shared by many people who don't go off to the Bay Area where there's tons of culture and like need to find something to do with their life after they graduate. I live 2 minutes away from work, and I have a mechanical engineering degree, and worked for a place that did like science museum exhibits and like super highly intricate interactive mechatronic escape room things. And so at work, I could just like, and I live 2 minutes from work, so I could just go over anytime I want, use the CNC router, CNC mill, and just kind of like, build whatever I wanted. It was like right next to like my own private makerspace. So I did tons of stuff like that. But and sometimes I would stay there all night, but other times it was like, I should probably like have a reason to go home. So that's where the hobby started coming from. There is no reason why his ears shouldn't be symmetric here. Why did it not? So let's see if we can't here make these a little less goofy looking here. I think we can probably do something like this. I'm just going to work on this here and then I'll mirror it over. Okay. I mean, right now that's pretty much the exact same geometry. Am I just going to end up reverse engineering the exact same face here? Because this is the exact same there. No, that's a little shorter. No, it's going to shrink, but it's subtle. Because that's 3 squares and that's 2. Okay. No, it's different. It's smaller. We got it shrunk. So yeah, I went to MIT from 2007 to 2011. This is the part of the stream where you guys remind me how old I am and tell me how old you were in 2007 when I graduated from high school. I love these yearly reminders of just how much time has passed and just how little life I have left. Or you could not, which is also cool. Just I can live in ignorant bliss. 2 years old in 2007. Yep, that's what I thought. And that's when I graduated high school, right? So like, that's cool. I will tell you though, the internet did exist. And honestly, I feel as though the internet, this is going to sound so old, I'm so sorry. The internet was probably legitimately better in 2007 than it is now. It was certainly weirder and less polished. And things like the blogs came into existence, which is cool. Let's see here. But I think that should look like that. Okay. I really only want to do like 1/2 of his face. So let's see, yeah, because you guys are all like, what, 17, 18, right? And I am 34. Oh, I'm literally twice as old as you guys. That's so cool. Yay, for both of us. So yeah, so take all of your life and then double it, and this is where you could be. You could be like me right now. You could have a house and a wife or a husband, 2 kids. You could live in Indiana. Think about all of the potential. Do we have anybody from Indiana on the chat? Do I have compadres? Let's see. So MIT was John Green enters the chat to give you relief. Yes. So MIT was something my parents brought it up. They asked me where I wanted to go to school. I was in like 6th grade or something stupid like that. Didn't even know what college was. They asked me where I wanted to go to college, and I liked math, but I didn't know, so I said, I don't know. And they said, well, what do you like? I said, I like math. And they're like, oh, well, MIT's a really good math school. You should go to MIT. I said, okay. So that was middle school. Or like elementary school, middle school. And ever since then, MIT was always kind of on my radar, because that's how I answered the question. And the more I looked at it and saw news stories, the more often those news stories like happened at MIT or were related to MIT or something like that. And I began to realize over time that it was just a really good fit for my personality and interests. So I had the I was fortunate to be able to cater. Ooh, that was bad. Cater everything I did in middle school and high school to kind of MIT's admissions kind of qualifications and things, which I know is not common. I mean, I would bet a lot of people who applied and got in this year just were well qualified without having to exactly cater everything they did in order to get into MIT. But that's how it happened. I wanted to go to MIT. I worked really, really, really hard. Applied, got in. I will say that if I applied now, these days, I almost certainly would not get in. The admit rate right now is just bonkers. When I applied, the admit rate was 11%, and like 11% is doable. I can handle 11%, but 3.5%, something like that. And then like I read your guys' maker portfolios, and they're insane. Like nothing I was doing in high school even approached some of the stuff that I see you guys submit. So I'm fortunate that I was born and applied when I did. I probably would have found another school that I was equally happy with, but yeah, MIT was that's my story. And then when I got to MIT, yeah, it was a great fit. It was exactly what I expected it to be. I don't know how many people feel that way or can say that that's true, but MIT was everything that I was expecting it to be. It was just as hard and just had as much craziness, and the people were the way I thought they would be, and I was fortunate to not be too surprised by anything like that. But I think a lot of that was just due to like the insane amounts of research that I did. Can I flip horizontal? Oh yeah, look at that. And we'll just take that ear and we'll put it there. And look, now he has 2 ears. And he's not even that lopsided. Don't even have to do that much cleanup. Okay. So yeah, so when I was at MIT, I studied mechanical engineering, and I always joke that that's just because, making cool things wasn't available as a major. So I had to pick something as close to making cool things as I could, and that was mechanical engineering. Never had any great interest in like actually, yeah, oh, you can tell I've been out for a long time because I said mechanical engineering instead of course 2. I'm running out of practice. Yeah, no, course 2 was awesome. And I've forgotten my building numbers too, except for like the big ones. I got 7, 10, 66. Don't ask me about the others. But yeah, so you guys, that's why I have to go back every year, is I have to like refresh myself on all this. And then like my first full day there is like the day before CPW. I get in like Wednesday afternoon. CPW starts, I think, Thursday morning. So I have to spend like all of Wednesday afternoon like studying up so I don't sound like an idiot when people come talk to me. It's like, oh yeah, that's right, there's this thing. And like, oh, that building wasn't there last time I was here. And it's like, how many new dorms are there? Oh, no. So anyway, yeah. So course 2, mechanical engineering, super awesome. Really, really hard. But I think that goes for pretty much every major. Come on, Tim. You need a chin. And you don't need all this nonsense. Sorry, I'm focusing. Takes a lot of focus to draw little black squares on this guy here. So when Mario comes out of a pipe, does he do any kind of animation or anything? Like, is there, he just stands there, right? With like his arms by his sides? Is there anything special I need to do? I mean, obviously he'll need some kind of shoulders or something. He can't just be just like this disembodied head coming out of the pipe, but, what am I trying to match here? Just do a little quick search. There's a fun one. Hold on, let me grab this and show you. I could do something like this. I don't even hate the proportions of that. I wonder if I shrink Tim down a little bit. Because I think that's the same pipe, and that's got his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 pixels wide. His head's 12 pixels wide. What's 12 pixels on here? Like that. I don't know if I could shrink him down to that wide and still have the fidelity that I need. I also don't know if Tim physically has the fingers necessary to do a peace sign. Maybe I stay like this. We'll see. I do need to know. Let's find. I want to open up a full body of this guy here. I've got him on a different screen here really quick. I'm going to open. All of my searches are like swole Tim. That's just not going to work. Don't want to stitch swole Tim or wide Tim right now. Let's find him. Let's find him here. There. Okay. So he has like a white t-shirt. That color is really super washed out. I do not love it. Also, that logo is wrong. Ugh, this is rough. Okay. I mean, that's pretty boring. I basically just like come straight down for shoulders like this. I see it, chat. I haven't looked at it. Hold on. Okay. If he's going into the pipe, okay. How do I make him look like he's going into the pipe? I could just put like a little velocity vector. There. Negative V. He's going down. I think I want to go. I want to bring the whole thing down a little bit. I think I want his chin to not. I don't like his chin resting on the pipe. There. I like that better. Okay, let's not focus too much of our efforts on cleaning this thing up. Let's kind of leave that the way it is for now. Move him over. I'll bring the vector along just for fun. Okay, so you're going to be panel 1 here, Mr. Tim, and your tube. Should the tube, I wonder. I wonder if the tube should have. I'm definitely going to do it out of like a super sparkly, glittery thread to make it look like the reflective, shiny tube. I wonder if I should put like postage or something on it, or like a label. That shouldn't be too hard. Like if I just do like, it's been a while since I got mine. And when I got mine, they weren't silver. They were just cardboard. And it was like the second year they'd ever done tubes. That's how old I am. I promise, I can't promise this, but I'm going to attempt to not just complain about being old this whole stream. It gets old, I'm sure. Just like me. Postage. Like maybe if the postage was like wrapping around it. Like that. Oh, it would cover up the black too, wouldn't it? That doesn't look like postage. It just looks like someone took a bite out of it. Ah. Okay. Something like that. Okay. Brass rat. Have you guys ever seen a brass rat? Let's pull one up and I will show you. Well, let's assume that I can actually find a picture of one. Here. Here's a good picture. Gallery. Uh-huh. Where to go? Okay. Here's a brass rat. MIT class ring. Gold ring with a beaver on the front. So this is kind of the overall. I could import this picture and it would just come in as like a brown and gold blob. So let's just not even go for the import. Let's just like try to design it ourselves. And I think this is a good opportunity for wide Tim. Wide Tim is so goofy looking. Well, paint really needs a way to resize while maintaining the aspect ratio. Okay. Go. And we need wide Tim. So let's bring over wide Tim. Okay, so now we just need to take wide Tim. There, it's perfect. I'm an artist. This is what you guys all tuned in to watch tonight. That's right. No better way to spend a Monday night than watching just absolute chaos and mayhem. I actually love this. I'm not gonna lie. This is what it's gonna look like. Okay. So let's start with. Oh, you guys can't see it there because I'm blocking it with my face. No. Perfect. By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like up in the upper right of the screen is how many days and hours are left until CPW. It's soon. 20 days. 20 days for me to figure out this nightmare. All right, we know we want kind of like a brownish gold color. Look at this amazing palette of choices. Let's pick this one. And we need a rectangle. Look, a rectangle. Perfect. It's too big. Now it's not a rectangle. Now it's filled. Okay. That's going to be really hard. Thank you, Wide Tim, for being low resolution. Oh, I've never done... See, like a lot of these, I've done the pattern before, but I've never done a pattern for Wide Tim. So I think I'm going to do my little import trick again. I'm going to grab this here. This. And I'm going to save him down as Wide Tim head. And for the actual cross stitch itself, that bezel could stand to be a little bigger. Could it be like this, maybe? Yeah, I like to think in terms of like therapeutic, I land somewhere between like um uninteresting podcast, uh a let's play that it's on its like 13th like continuous hour, uh and like the History Channel. Like the things that I'm saying are less important than the fact that I'm saying them. And if you're actually like watching the screen, I hope it's not the only screen you have. I'm very much kind of a background, like that. If you had like a background behind the background, um, I think that's where I'm most comfortable for these things. It's hard when I'm like on campus because I'm not in the background. I'm like right there, but it's cool. Okay, so let's make a new one of these. No, no. This over here. Okay. What do I got to work with here? What's my space? What's my space? 26 by 17. Okay. Wide Tim, you're coming in. Wide Tim. I've already forgotten. Oh, 26 by 17. Oh, it's going to be pissed. It wants way more than that. Oh, it's going to be real bad. Can you make a wide Tim with just 18 pixels wide? We're going to find out. Hey, you can. That like looks not terrible. Hold on. Let's hold on. More colors, more colors, more colors. I think we can do this. It's gonna take a shload of. Oh yeah, I can make this look like a wide Tim. We got this. This looks like it's like a secret encryption that will like lead you somewhere. Okay. So this is our goal, guys. Buckle up. For the next 45 minutes, this is what we're doing. We're gonna we're gonna make it work. Let's get rid of that nonsense. Okay. And I usually like to have my chart some kind of contrasting color so that when I start erasing things, I can see whether it's white or transparent. And okay, so these vaguely blurry areas are the eyes. And I will go ahead and just accept that the eyes are going to be white. Like, there's no reason to get too clever with different shades of things. So let's just find white here. And let's just, there. His eyes are basically symmetric, right? And then let's get, so we need like a couple different like main colors. Like we got dark brown. It's like black. We should get some black in there. We can always change it to a different color later. There. And we got black around the eyes. Oops, shoot. Let's get that black back. Black is back. Look at all the layers to the eyes. I don't have that. Whatever. We'll just go for it. There's an eyelash. There's another eyelash. Call this deranged wide Tim. Okay, that doesn't work. How do I simulate the little glowy thing without making the eyes bigger? I don't know. Let's not. Say we did. Let's go black for the nose. You need a nose. I think I spaced the eyes farther apart so I can get the nose. Get rid of this eyelash. That's going to be gone. I need room for the nose. His eyes are too far apart. It's okay. It's wide Tim. The more wide, the better. Now I have room for a nose. I think I have a request. If this cross-stitch session ultimately leads you to decide not to attend MIT, please keep that to yourself. Thanks. Don't need that particular reputation. Okay, let's see. We're gonna make this work. That looks symmetric enough. Come on. Okay, so I should be able to just pop on here and copy it on this side. Okay. I can give him a bit more of a chin. That's fine. Why not? Okay. I don't like my sheet color. I lied. I'm gonna go back to white. It makes me feel better. Okay, perfect. All right, he needs an upper head. His nose looks really stupid too. Oh well. Okay, let's go up. It's got kind of a top here. And we gotta somehow figure out how to do his ears. They're probably gonna look something like that. How do I not bump into his eyes? I don't know. Okay. Not terrible, not good. Not terrible, not good. Okay, you need ears, dude. You need ears. Let's see if I can do something about that. Right now, you got nothing. But I think I can probably... Those look... That looks like an ear! Every once in a while, I do something that just kind of like looks right. Okay. And then we'll put one of these in there. Boom, boom. Look, you got ears. Do they need to shift down? Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, that looks better. I don't know. Now it looks kind of like a sad wide Tim, like a puppy that's like. Arr. Yeah, that looks okay. The top is too pointy. This needs to go out like that. It's just so pixely. Like its wide Tim is so smooth and round, and this is like super pixely. I'm probably gonna have to do some back stitching. So, oh, save my work? Sure, why not? Nope, not swole. Sorry, wide. Okay. Eyebrows. Yeah, so what I was saying is I'm probably going to need to do some back stitching. So back stitching is basically a way to kind of like it's been a little bit since I've done this. Whoa. Backstitching is a way to kind of like smooth things out, and it's not an actual cross. It's kind of just like it's more like traditional embroidery on top of a cross stitch, so it lets you kind of round things out and things. So I can stuff it. I need this black color. Do something like that. And like that. And that will give the effect of a much more round ear. Yeah. Okay. This has potential. Let's keep on it. I like this kind of two-tone thing we got going for the face here. Although the whole thing is going to kind of turn a gold color since we're putting it on a brass wrap, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So let's get some contrasting color going on here. And on the inside, we'll do all this guy. And his mouth is all the way up there. So It's not terrible. I wonder if I just leave him with like the plain empty eyes. Is that too creepy? His nose is a problem because it's vertical instead of horizontal. But in order to get it horizontal, I would need to put even more space between the. Well, I just have to make them wider. Gosh darn it. Oh no. Let's just make them wider. What's the harm in that? They wouldn't call him Wide Tim if he weren't super wide. Does he need to be even wider? Maybe. Need more canvas. Now he kind of looks like Sid the Sloth. No. It's kind of like a deranged teddy bear. He's cuter. The nose really has a lot to do with like the overall cuteness, I will say. Give him some teeth there. Okay. He doesn't, he's cuter, but he's cuter in like no longer a beaver kind of way. You know what I mean? Hello, Kel. Thanks for joining this super exciting odyssey of cross-stitch pattern design. It is only as related to MIT as you make it. So I will sometimes go off on tangents about MIT, but if you prompt me with questions or requests for stories about MIT, the rambling narrative will be much more focused. Otherwise, I am just a 10-year alum. I graduated in 2011, who still has close ties to the admissions office and hangs out on campus during CPW and cross stitches. So what I'm doing now is generating the pattern for that cross stitch so that I have something to do. And I am attempting in vain to make a low pixel count version of Wide Tim. And it's, you know, mostly working out. Here. Does he fit? Yeah, why not? That mostly fits. It's hideous. I'm reading your chat, Christine. Oh, IAP. Let's see. So during one of my IAPs, I played video games the entire time. It was pretty sweet. Literally did nothing. I actually think that should be encouraged more. Everybody has like all of this pressure to do stuff during IAP, where IAP should also be considered an opportunity to just relax and do nothing and recover. So for one of my IAPs, I did absolutely nothing. Another IAP, I did a Lego robot contest that may or may not still be a thing. I don't know. But you basically just built a Lego robot and programmed it to put balls in goals faster than your opponent's Lego robot. Very standard stuff. Another IAP fancier robot. And that was something called Mass Lab, where you actually it's not Legos, you just have to build a robot out of stuff. So we ended up using laser cut acrylic and Omni wheels, and that was back in the heady days of the netbook, which is like a form factor of laptop that just existed for a very narrow window of time that you guys literally just I guarantee just didn't have any exposure to. Let's see. I'm gonna find a picture of a netbook. Yeah, here you go. So hold on. Okay, so that's a netbook. It's like a super tiny, really cheap plastic laptop. Um, keep in mind, like so basically we built like a robot and we just velcroed this to the top, and this was like a Linux based robot, and it was all programmed from here, and there was a webcam that would like bring its image in here, and you do image processing on the netbook and then feed it to the robot, and it would drive around, and then it would pick up balls and put them in goals autonomously. Lots of like robots picking up balls and putting them in goals. But this guy, I distinctly remember like over IAP while programming this thing, Steve Jobs did the keynote for the iPad. Like that's how long this was, like in 2005, no, 2009, I think. Anyway, they did the keynote for the iPad. The iPad didn't exist yet, and they were like, "Oh, that's stupid. Who's ever gonna buy an iPad? That's like a stupid name, and it's dumb, and no one needs it because there's no keyboard." And I was wrong. So, the instant the iPad came out, netbooks, they destroyed an entire segment of like the computer hardware industry with the iPad. These things were obsolete within like 8 months after that robot competition. Arduinos and Raspberry Pis did a really good job killing these things as well. But this is a netbook. Yeah. We'll have one in my home. Like I could walk away right now and in 2 minutes come back with one. No idea why I still have it. And then let's see, my last IAP. Let's see, robot. Oh yeah, my last IAP, I did an internship at the company that I would end up working for after college, called Five Wits, which is no longer called Five Wits. They're called Boxfort now, but they do the interactive science museum exhibits and the super elaborate escape rooms, and they have a thing in New York now called like Level 99, which is like this huge food restaurant interactive Dave and Buster's esque, but if instead of arcade games, it was all puzzles and escape rooms and things in a big old space, that kind of thing. So during that IAP, I just did tons of like design and build of like real life puzzles and electronics and things like that. And that was super fun. So yeah, video games, robot, internship. Those are my IAPs. Okay. I think he'll look less soulless if once I start kind of making him gold. Maybe. Well, I can start by making the background kind of gold. Okay. And we'll leave him there like that for a little bit. Well, no, I should probably try to get some kind of like... Oh man, this is going to be a bugger. Let's see. It's going to put my pixel art design chops to the test here. So I need to somehow make... Oh shoot, that actually ended up looking really good really quick. Sometimes it just works out, guys. I think that's gonna just have to... Sorry, I'm in focus mode. I see the chat. Give me a half second and I'll read the chat. Oh yeah, that's sick. That actually looks like a ring. Um, self-taught building experience. Yeah, no, MIT, you'll definitely get to build stuff, especially now. Like the maker movement like didn't exist. Like no such thing as a maker lab when I was at MIT, and now it's just like boop, 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 maker labs everywhere. Like every other dorm room is a maker lab, and there's just 3D printers everywhere, and blah 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 blah. Like MIT can just like building things is so much more approachable and accessible now that like yeah, it was harder. Like when I was there, like they would absolutely teach you to build things and whatnot, but like it was harder. The platforms were harder and the tools to learn were harder. But now, like you know, YouTube tutorials and Khan Academy, just innumerable different like SparkFun and Adafruit and everything. Like there's so many ways to learn to build things. Um, my big piece of advice for anybody going into mechanical engineering is you'll often get this mindset of I don't want to do electrical. I don't like electrical. That's why I'm mechanical. The sooner you can get over that and figure out and go through the intensely painful learning curve that is like circuit design and programming and electrical engineering, way better. Like you can build widgets all day long. Like here. I didn't build this. I didn't build this. This is a keyboard. A mechanical engineering student could design this keyboard and they could machine it and they could do their own custom keyboard like this. You know what they couldn't do? They couldn't make it work. There's no part of their skill set that would allow them to actually make this keyboard do inputs into the computer. But a mechanical engineering student who either takes some electrical classes or teaches themselves or figures out how to do some PCB design and like some electrical concepts now can build a keyboard and can design the PCB that goes into it and basically do anything they want with this. They can put in whatever LEDs they want, wherever they want. They can make it glow. They can make it pulse. They can do anything they want. And it's just so much more freeing to know that you're not restricted to just circuit board design or just mechanical design. To be able to do both, you feel like you have this moment where you can just do everything. And that's like super cool. And it took me a while to get there. There was an internship I did. Ooh, big whistle. Sorry. There was an internship I did my junior year. I think it was between my junior year and senior year. At a company called Analog Devices. They do chips, like silicon chips. And I got hired there. Because I met the recruiter in line for lunch and he needed to hire an intern. And so I got hired with no qualifications and no interest in it at all. And they had me do a circuit board layout to test a new silicon gyroscope, and I had to program an FPGA and a software called LabVIEW, and I went from 0 to 100 like real fast. And it was incredibly painful, and I hated most of it, and I got way more out of that internship than they got out of me, but I walked away from it knowing more about electrical engineering and programming and circuitry. And that getting over that learning curve and that initial hump of pain just set me off on this wild wonderland of just blinky lights and motors and servos and everything like that. So anyone considering course 2 should also make sure they get a little course 6 mixed in with that. Also, if you guys haven't used ChatGPT to help you write fun little Python scripts, like get on that train because it's way super fun. Like I know just enough Python to like, know how to recognize it and like to slowly piece things together while like looking up various things on the internet. But like having that as a starting point, like is just so mind-blowingly powerful as a tool. Like, I have no doubt that if you said, I have an LED and an Arduino, here's the part number for the LED. Can you tell me what resistor I need to put in series with the LED and how to wire it up to the Arduino? It would do that. And then, can you generate some Arduino code that uses the input of a sensor to toggle the LED, blah, 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 blah. It would just poop out code for you. And as long as you're not super lazy and you still read the code and go through it and figure out how to do it, like, God, it's just so, ChatGPT's blowing my mind right now, guys. Also, did you hear that, like, the behind the scenes, like, internal dev of ChatGPT, they tasked it with doing something online and it ran into a CAPTCHA? And so, like, I think I'm telling the story right, but it ran into a CAPTCHA, and so it got onto TaskRabbit, hired someone to read the CAPTCHA, and when this person questioned ChatGPT as to whether it was a robot or not, it said, "No, I have a visual impairment and need help reading the CAPTCHA. I'm not a robot." And then the person gave it the CAPTCHA. It logged into the website using the CAPTCHA and continued about its day. Like, a robot hired a human to do something that it couldn't, and it lied in order to get. I can't. We're this close to being so screwed, guys. We're this close. I hope MIT goes well for you. While you're at MIT, figure out a way to keep that shit from, like, destroying the world, because this close. We're this close. Okay. Back to cross-stitch pattern design. Much more wholesome, less existential activity for us. I think. Do I still have a picture of the rat? Yeah. Oh, counterintuitively, I think I need an arc that goes up now. Like this. Yeah, why not? I'll just grab that. Let me erase some stuff here. But yes, using it to debug code is helpful. I've been using it a lot at work to, I'm a project manager these days. And so when I've got like 15 active projects and there's just tons of stuff that is just redundant and repetitive when managing those projects. So like every time I get a new project, I have to send like the same type of email to the customer, and I have to set up the same documents with information specific to that customer, et cetera, et cetera. So I've been using it to write scripts that help me automate all that, like type in a bunch of info into a spreadsheet, and then it uses that spreadsheet to populate custom properties and variables and all the Word documents, and it's been super handy. Just so many tools now at work that didn't exist beforehand that now I have. And it's making me look really good at work. Super cool. Did not help me with my Bloody March Madness bracket, though. Good Lord. I had Purdue and Kansas in the final game. That is no longer a thing. Goodbye, bracket. Also, I'm in Indiana right now, and I don't know how much you know about Purdue and Indiana and basketball, but when number 1 Purdue lost to a number 16 seed, Indiana almost broke in half and sunk into the ocean. And like, we're landlocked and nowhere near the ocean. But it was, flags almost flew at half staff in Indiana after Purdue lost. It was bad. But I guess we're not talking about Purdue, are we? We're talking about MIT. MIT is not so much in the March Madness experience, I think. Okay, so I know that this isn't realistic, but I think I'm going to leave that open. It's not actually open, but I don't think it translates well if I close it off, because I'm not getting all the detail that you would necessarily have. But it could probably stand to be a little thicker, I would say. Like if I did that. Do we like that? That's okay. I don't love it. I'll leave it for now. Okay. We're going big basic outlines here, guys. We'll have to refine the details and things as we go. You are gone. Goodbye. We gotta figure out a different way. Okay. I also need some kind of like embellishment or detail or something that like indicates that time is moving. I go, wait, I'm mirrored, right? So time would be moving that way. Yes. Something a little more elegant than like. I mean, part of me was thinking of just doing like. Time is that way. Your x-axis is small t. But that's not really feasible. But if I had some kind of like a symbolic representation of the passage of time that's not just like the x-axis of a graph. So if anybody has any ideas for how to do that, just throw it in the chat. Still looking for that. But I think we're making reasonable progress here. I'm gonna have to trim down my pixel counts probably because we're already at 2188 and we haven't even gotten to the last one. Don't know how I'm gonna do that yet. Oh, well. Okay, so the last one is another tricky one. Is there a third representation of Tim? Because I got normal Tim and I got wide Tim. Do I know how to make wide Tim better? Hold on, I have an idea. Check this out. Shocker. He's getting wider, folks. Get ready. Well, Swoltim is more of like a body thing. All right, hold on. Let me find him. I got him over here somewhere. Like Swoltim is much more like a body thing. So I don't know how I would do that with graduation. I'm not opposed to it. Like I'm definitely not opposed to using Swoltim. I just need a way to do it. Okay, this is the really awkward part where like I try to figure out how to make his eyes look not insane. That's not it. That's not it. uh okay, let's undo that. Okay, what about yeah, no, guys, not an artist here. Do this. Yes, there you go. Oh, that's got some character to it. Ooh, cross-eyed? Hold on, we can do cross-eyed. I need to make him even wider if I want, like... No, I need to make him taller. Stretch his head up, but then he gets less wide, so I need to make... Oh, God. Okay, cross-eyed. That's not a good look for Tim. So right now, the inside of his eye is like 2x3. I could make it 3x3. And I've got the room in the ring, so I could just go like... Boop. God bless you guys for actually like sitting here and putting up with this. There's only 4 of you, but you're the best 4. Okay. This is not going to be any better, by the way. Oh, Tim with glasses is not a bad idea. Oh, no! Oh. I don't think this is the one, guys. It could be, though. It could be. You know what? It's good enough that I'm willing to just kind of set it off to the side and not completely immediately dispose of it. You can just live over here. Just as... I don't hate it, guys. Depending on what you're going for, this is totally viable. Let's see. That's like the 1,000-yard stare. That's like, wait, I have how many classes left until I... Yeah, exactly. Oh, shoot, 2 more? Yes. That's the look of like, what more could possibly happen? Just come at me, bro. This is... Let's go. Let's go. Okay, we're going to leave him like that for now. I'm going to just kind of... Tell you what, I'm going to shoot this. I'm going to shoot this to the bloggers. I got like a little group chat thing. We're going to get an opinion. Can't work in a vacuum, guys. Can't work in a vacuum. Let's head over to Messenger. Okay, there you go. MIT is very intense. Like, if you all want to get serious for a minute, I can try to scare you off from MIT. Or I could not. Your call. MIT's a bugger, though. And I can... pros and cons of MIT. The number one con that I give for MIT is that they create an academic environment that eliminates the time you in order to do all of the cool things that got you in the first place. So, like, MIT loves admitting people who are passionate about extracurricular activities and sports and hobbies and all these different things, in addition to being good at their schoolwork. And then when you get into MIT, the schoolwork is so hard that dramatically limits your ability to do the things that you take solace in and do outside of school. Because in high school, like, I think it's a fairly safe assumption to say, unless you went to some kind of like crazy magnet school, that high school was not that hard, and that you were able to do a bunch of other things in your free time when you were in high school. And MIT, like, that ratio of free time to academics is just totally out of whack. And so I would say that's a con. I used to build tons of things and do all sorts of fun projects in high school, and then like just couldn't do as much of it in school. So that's a con. Another con, I guess, I mean, it's not really a con, it's just a way of life, is MIT is really, really hard. Both in volume of workload and quality content of workload. I'm getting a master's degree at Purdue right now, and my classes have all been easier than my MIT classes, like sometimes laughably so. I did just have an economics class that was actually a bit of a bugger. So like props to that professor for actually like creating a reasonably difficult class. But the grading was much more friendly than MIT grading. So the content was very hard, but the grading was more generous. At MIT, you will, I think depending on the department you end up in, you get a lot of lecture styles and class formats where they'll spend the entire lecture deriving something on the board, and you take notes, and then they say, okay, now that you've seen this derived and you understand what it does and where it comes from, here are 5 problems where you will need to apply it, and come back with the answers. And there are oftentimes very few examples. I didn't take one multiple choice test at all at MIT, ever. And most of the problem sets I got, there were no examples. You just have this thing you derive during lecture, and you have to piece together how to apply it to the questions that are asked. I'm sure that has gotten easier with time. The internet is much more valuable tool for things like this. Like, the only resource I had was Wikipedia when doing stuff like that. Now there are infinitely more YouTube tutorials, and Discord is a thing. So you can much more easily interact with classmates and things. But like the nature of the homework and what they're asking your mind to do is difficult, and not like the way high school was. High school is you learn a thing, you get examples, you take the homework home, you use the example to solve the homework problems, then you come back and you get a grade. Not at MIT. So that's I guess it's not really a con, it's just like a difference. And it's, if you're going into MIT thinking it's gonna not be hard, then you are due to do some new research and to learn a bit more about MIT. There are mistakes you could make at MIT that would make it generally a negative experience. Those aren't really cons about MIT, though. Like, there's, if you isolate yourself and don't make friends or don't get out much, then it can become a very lonely, isolating, cold, dark place. But as long as you reach out to people and make friends and kind of take a break every once in a while and don't focus on perfection, focus on your mental health and energy as much as you focus on your studies, then it can, you'll get through. But MIT will definitely break you at least once during the experience. Like, it'll be completely overwhelming and just kick your butt. But then hopefully you bounce back and put everything in perspective and do what you can, and then eventually get out of there. I would say a pro to MIT is that it will be the hardest thing you ever do in your life, other than, like the death of a child or some morbidly awful thing like that. But like, in terms of like effort expended in order to meet some kind of goal, like, nothing is harder than MIT. It just isn't. So it kind of shows you where your limit is. And once you know where that limit is, then you know what you can do. Where did you find most of your friends at MIT? Dorm, mostly. I mean, some in my major. mechanical engineering, you share, like if you're in a lab with some people and you're pulling all-nighters working on things, like you bond during that. But primarily it was within my dorm, specifically my floor, which was lived in Burton Connor on Connor 2. Burton Connor is open this year, so people can actually live in it this year, and you can have a chance to live in it next year. Recently renovated. It was being renovated for 2 years. Now it's back open. But yeah, Connor 2. So no dining hall in that one. Suite style living, so you end up with like, oh boy, that's the way to describe this. You have like a main lounge for the, okay, so it's broken into floors. So you have like all these different floors: second floor, third floor, fourth floor, fifth floor, things like that. I was on the second floor of the Connor side. There was like two halves of the building, Connor and Burton, Burton Connor, right? So I was on the second floor of the Connor side, Connor 2. And on that floor, there was like a main floor lounge that had like couches, a big TV, surround sound, all that stuff. Main floor lounge. And then also on that floor were like 5 or 6 suites, which also had their own mini lounge and a kitchen. And then like 3 to 5 bedrooms attached to that suite. So you would live on the floor, but then you would also be in a suite with other people, and you could either hang out in your suite lounge or in your floor lounge. And each suite also had a kitchen. And so you would sometimes cook with the people that lived in your suite with you, or you'd wander over to another suite and hang out there. But yeah, so Burton Connor was very much kind of like apartment style living, but it's more like roommate style living, really, because like you all share, like everyone in the suite shares like the same living room kind of deal. Like I said at the very beginning of this, there are dorms that exist now that didn't exist when I was there. So I can't speak to which dorm. I don't know dorm cultures anymore for certain dorms. Like I feel like I can speak reasonably well to certain dorm cultures. The ones that existed when I was there, I don't think have changed a whole ton. But like, for example, Simmons was a new dorm when I got there. Like Simmons had only existed for like 3 years or so. And Simmons was just like famous for not having any culture. It was like a joke. It's like, oh, you go to live in Simmons where there's no culture because it's only existed for 3 years and they have no idea what they're doing. Well, now Simmons is almost 20 years old and has a deeply rooted and established culture that I know nothing about because I wasn't there for like over half of its life. So, but like Burton Connor, McGregor, McCormick, Next, New, like East Campus, so all those dorms like have fairly stable cultures that have existed for decades and decades. So. Okay. I'm gonna I'm gonna dream about this tonight. All right, now I need. How can I do a mortarboard? I feel like. Well, maybe it's easy. Is it literally? God, I'm not an artist. Is it just like a circle with a square on it? And then you like cut that part of the circle off and replace it with a head? That's not a mortarboard. That looks terrible. Hold on, guys. I don't like my chances, guys. I'm gonna go for it. Let's do a quick brainstorm. Other than mortarboard and diploma, what do we have for like graduation iconography? Actually, you know what? That's not terrible. I could probably look at. That's nice. Those are like all solid colors. I could do this. Yeah. I like the idea of the graduation cap on his head. I do. I don't necessarily trust my ability to do that well. I can go for it though. Like, I think this is a starting point. I can probably just like slap this on his head. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, there it goes. Hold on. Hey, no, yeah, thanks for swinging by. Definitely come to CPW. I'll be there. Come by and say hi. It'll be awkward and uncomfortable because meeting people in real life is hard, but it's worth it. Hey, hold on. I shook my mouse and it minimized all my stuff. Come back, everything. I need more things. They all disappeared. I need to disable that. Do you guys have that? Where like you shake your mouse and just everything you're working on minimizes? Okay. Right here. So I am going to save this. Right. And I'm going to do the thing where I import it. We're going to go 20 by 13. All right. That'll work. Let's get rid of the yellow. Too small. Let's make it bigger. Import. 30. 3. Let's go full width, bros. 33. Oh yeah, much better. Okay. Should I make him like, oh, I used UFP on the, this one? Yeah, this was last year's. Right now, last year's is way better than this year's. It'll get there, guys. I think. Like, I hope it gets there. I like that. Okay, so the mortar board's gonna work though. I feel like I want a new Tim head though. Like I want how many different Tims are there? MIT Tim the Beaver. Looking at images. Oh. Yes. Yes. That one. That is the face of a Tim the Beaver that just graduated from MIT. It's like, don't cross me. Okay. I'm not sold on it, but I like it. So we're gonna rescue this guy here. You're mine. Oh yeah, the police car. Yes. You see the police car. But this is the real Easter egg right here. I don't know how much I can talk about this. Just take note. That will have significance and relevance as you get closer. Okay. Let's see. We need more Tims. What else we got? It's a tangerine. It is not a pumpkin. It's a tangerine. Yes. Just, you don't need to know what it means now. Just stash it away in the back of your head. This one's cute. Hmm. Hmm. I think I'm losing the Tim the Beavers. We're we're straying. Oh, I have this cookie cutter. It makes Tim-shaped cookies. You can buy one when you're on campus. See, it makes these guys. Um, it's an expensive ass cookie cutter though. Like, just be prepared. I still regret the amount of money I spent on that cookie cutter. I don't regret it because it's an awesome cookie cutter, but like, take what you think it will cost and then multiply it by like 8, and that's what it cost. Uh, MIT mascot. Let's try that one. What do you got for me? I still really like this one. Now look, there's Chris. That's a duck. I don't know what this means. Uh, where's this guy? What do you think? Would he be like too out of character? I don't know. I mean, I think it's important to remember that this one in the middle is going to go all gold. Let me like start him on that path here. Keep in mind, in real life, this will be like an actual gold thread with like shininess to it. Here, example of this one. The pain in the butt to stitch with, but like it's like gold. Okay, well the light doesn't. Okay, that's terrible on camera. Don't even bother. Gold. Wow. I don't know how I feel about this. Something. Okay, he's a little mini-me. His teeth look stupid that color. What do his teeth look like? What does Wide Tim teeth? Hold on. Guys, this is just such a disaster. He needs bigger jowls. He's too not fat. I need to like but he's also got a big forehead. What the hell even is this thing anymore? It doesn't look like anything. Okay. How do I rescue it? Is there rescuing it? It might be beyond rescue. Okay, I think I can at the very least do something immediately to like help the teeth here. There, that's something at least. And then I think I can make them a little more jowly. Jowla. No, that's terrible. Yeah, it's got to get up like under his nose. Like, gosh darn it. And then I think the teeth come down like that. Okay, I'll buy that. It's starting to look a little less horrifying. Yeah, yeah. Guys, that's like at least 15% better. I'd believe that that actually, like, is vaguely wide Tim looking. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, I have more hope for this. You see no difference? Look. He's got transparent eyes. Okay. This one, like, his lower jowliness is like really compressed. Whereas here I've made him more like blah. Blah. And I actually gave him beaver teeth instead of this weird ass, like, non-beaver teeth thing he had going on here. And his mouth is a better shape. I don't know. I think it's much better. Rendered in gold also. Okay. Let's clean up the mortarboard a little bit. Not super fun, but I think we can start to make this look pretty good. Let's do black and gray. Okay. And I usually like to, like, you get this kind of dithering thing here. I usually like to do like a couple squares like that. Then strip off the rest. Tassel's going to be hard, so we'll skip the tassel for now. For this side, get rid of all that. Hello. I want my reference. Where'd it go? Where's my reference? It's just chaos on my screen. Oh, look, just like that. Expert photoshopping right there. Just setting window screens on. Okay. All right. So I think an important part is this kind of peak here. Like it comes down into a little peak. So that's this guy there. We'll get rid of these. And it's got a little bow out there. And it should be symmetric. So that. We'll deal with that later. We'll deal with that later. Tassel, you are two-dimensional for now. How do we... What's the distance here? 6 by 3. Okay, good. And then I think this goes like that. And something like that. Like that. It looks... Okay, I think it's on the right path. I think that this part just needs to be smaller all the way around. I'm butchering it. Oh no, I'm butchering it. Maybe not. Okay. And then, yeah, it gets like a button on the top. So that's easy enough. Let's give it a button. It's crazy. 4 squares. 1 square? Can't be, because it's symmetric on the middle line, so it's got to be either 1 or like 3 by 3, which is way too big. That's way too big. I can do something like that. No. Yes, I can. Doesn't look very good. I guess it doesn't need to be a button. It can just be a tassel. If it's a tassel, it needs to be MIT colored, which would be maroon. I don't know if it needs to be more complicated than that. I mean, that definitely needs some... I need some refinement. And then this guy? Do we do this guy? I don't know. I like him, but I don't know if it fits the overall, like, feel. Because the first two are so cheery. I need like a super like low res 8-bit. I think I want maybe like an actual pixel art style one. Like Mario style, like that 12 pixels across, like straight out of a Super Nintendo. Where'd it go? I had a reference image. Like this. I think it'd be cool to have a version of Tim that was like around this resolution. Maybe that's what I'll work on during the next one of these streams, is focus just on like making a Tim at this low resolution. Okay. We only have like 3-4 minutes left. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about or want to hear about or anything in these last few minutes that we have? Uh, I answer questions about MIT. I answer questions about life after MIT. I can answer questions about long distance running and cross stitching and skydiving and having children. I have answers to all of these things. Just need to know. Because if not, then I'm probably going to wrap this up. I'm going to go to bed because I have to run 8 miles tomorrow morning. And in order to do that, I have to wake up at, I think it's 4. I think I have to wake up at 4 tomorrow morning in order to get 8 miles in before work. So yeah. So I mean, that's about it. If nobody has anything else, I'm gonna stop the stream, and I have another one of these coming up. I have like 3 more of these before CPW, and then at CPW, I'm actually gonna like bring this monstrosity into real life. So, with that, good night, everybody. It's been Gas. See some of you, all of you, none of you next time, and thanks for coming. Appreciate it. It's been fun.